Mr. Singh, what the 18 viewers would like to understand is the vision of the government in terms of the fresh capacity addition. Now, you alluded to the numbers that 50% broadly is thermal, next 50% and additional is coming non-thermal. So can I say that the Power Ministry of India is now going to be focusing on and perhaps giving more push to new sources of energy, and thermal will take a back seat?
Absolutely, because right now my non-fossil capacity is 42%, and by 2030 it will be 65%. We are transitioning at a faster rate than anybody, even though our per capita emissions are one of the least in the world. Our per capita emissions, Nikunj, is 1/3 of the world average. And our per capita energy consumption is also approximately 1/3 of the world average. So basically we are the least polluters on a per capita basis, and yet we have one of the fastest energy transitions in progress going on as far in the world. We've also achieved another NDC, and we had pledged that by 2030 we'll reduce our emissions intensity by 33%, and we've already reduced it by about 30%. So we'll again achieve that target well ahead of schedule. We are a world leader in energy transition and climate action. Make no mistake about it. Now, nobody talks to me about the need to do transition. I tell them that, look, this is what I have done. Now tell me what you have done, and they can't match what I have done. So they are generally on the defensive.
So in this heavy lifting of energy transition, how much of capacity addition, and I'm talking about non-thermal capacity addition, you think will come from, let's say, an NTPC and other state generating utilities?
Some capacity, you see, the capacity addition is coming from both state as well as settled utilities, and similarly, this capacity addition will come from both. What we do is, actually you can call it as capacity addition by both together, because for example in solar or wind, what happens is that we have our agencies like the Solar Energy Corporation of India, the NTPC, etc. They hold bids, and those are national level bids, and so they come to a rate that, okay, the solar will be supplied at 2 rupees 30 paise or whatever, or wind will be at 2 rupees 80 paise, whatever. And then whichever state needs that, they sign an agreement called the power purchase agreement or power and the power sales agreement. So that capacity is actually owned up by the state. The power goes to the state. The consumption is all in the state, all by the discoms. So it's actually a joint sort of effort whereby we are doing this. But by and large, the central government is taking the initiative. What we have done, Nikunj, is, I'll just finish. Nikunj, what we have done is we put in place a renewable purchase obligation. So we have laid down trajectories, and we have said that, look, the country had made a pledge under the United Nations Framework on Climate Convention. That pledge has to be met, and this is your share. So this much energy which you consume must come from renewables. So that is happening. And a similar sort of mandate will be put on also others. Those who are either who have captive generating units, or those who are open access consumers, they will also have this mandate, so that the country, when it has made a pledge, will achieve that pledge. In fact, will be more than achieve that pledge. So the initiative is taken by us. We conduct the bids. We tell the states that, look, this is this quantity of renewable energy, or this is the percentage of renewable energy which you must have. So they sign the PPAs, etc., and that is how we are growing.
So, Minister Singh, just some follow-up questions from generation. I would move to essentially now into distribution. While the T&D losses have come down, DISCOM efficiency has increased, but since you are referring to global averages, I guess that is one area where the global averages are much, much better than what India averages are. So the puck is moving in the right direction, but I guess we have a lot to catch up there.
Yes, yes.
So when do you think we will be able to improve on
actually,
it?
we have done a lot. You can put it that way, Nikunj. Now, so what we have done is that today the AT&C losses have been brought down to 16.5% and they used to be hovering around 23%. So it's almost 6.5% reduction, and we believe that the next year we'll see a further 3% reduction, so 12-13%. All my discoms are are nearly viable. The only one problem which I have to solve, of course, now is the legacy sort of losses. So we'll look at that as to how those legacy losses the states will fund. Now the ACS ARA gap we have brought down to 15% from 68 paisa to 15 paisa. Can you believe that? So the cost between the gap between the average cost of supply and the average revenue realized has come down from 68 paise to 15 paise. That's what we have done. I mean, the sector is totally different, Nikunj. It's viable now, and it will get more and more profitable as all our reforms, the sort of take hold. We made everything conditional, Nikunj, in the sense that you want grants from the center. If you are making a loss, you tell us how you are going to reduce your losses, get your state government's commitment to it, take the grant. You want a loan from our institutions. If you are making losses, we will not give it to you, but we will give to you if you work out a method for reducing those losses, get your state commitment to it, and then come to us with that. We'll give you that loan. So everything is now conditional, Nikunj. I mean, there's no free lunch anywhere. That's what we have made the power sector. You consume, you have to pay. You don't want the consumer to pay, you pay. The government pays. That is from the budget, whatever.
So let me draw your attention.
And if you have announced a subsidy, you had better pay it. Otherwise, somebody will have to.
No, that is so true, sir, and it is very evident that the sector, which in a sense was on a backseat, is only coming back because the viability for the entrepreneur to invest and generate return is there, and that will only happen when the demand and the supply equation is rewarded for somebody's hard work and capital commitment. But my next question, Minister Singh, is the Electricity Amendment Act.
Yes.
What is the status on that? Because that, in a sense, would be the mega reform for the sector, where more and more discoms would be privatized, smart metering, etc.
Now, Nikunj, what we have done is, you see, as far as that bill is concerned, that bill is the standing committee. So I have had a couple of meetings with the chairperson of the standing committee. He says that they'll be giving their report soon. But what has happened, Nikunj, is that only one major change is now awaiting that bill, and that is that multiple distribution licenses working in the same area of supply. This has already been provided for in the Act, in the 2003 Act. But it's not coming to really come into effect outside of Bombay and a couple of other towns because of one provision there which needs to be removed. And that provision says that every distribution company will distribute power, electricity through their own network. Now that is foolish, because that network will be common and different suppliers will use the same network and pay for the use of the network. So that's the only change which is pending that bill. All other changes which we wanted, we've already brought in those changes by our rules. The rules which we have promulgated have brought in these changes. The prudential norms which we have laid down have brought in these changes. So my reforms are well ahead. They have progressed very well. And as I said, Nikunj, today the power sector is very different. And you have rights. I mean, nobody can overcharge you. We have put as a consumer, the distribution company cannot put any unnecessary hurdles on open access. So anybody wants open access, they will get it. That means they can buy from whosoever they want. Any industry, for example, can decide that the power supplied by this distribution company, the cost is too much. I'll get power from somebody else, or I'll generate my own power somewhere captive. Great. Or I will buy power from a developer which is situated in Rajasthan or something, grant me open access. That open access has to be granted. And the earlier charges on open access, they have been rationalized, and they'll be further rationalized, so that everybody, I believe that we are a free citizen of a free country, and we have the right to decide. as to where we'll buy electricity. That is the mantra.
Mr. Singh, one of the most underappreciated aspect I just want to bring out for our viewers is that last 12 months the world has gone through serious energy crisis. What's happened in Europe, what's happened in US, but in India, the energy and the electricity rates have not gone higher, something which we don't appreciate, even as consumers and even as market commentators. So I just want to bring this point out for the benefit of our viewers, that what happened in the world versus what is happening in India because of the war situation, I think is fantastic. So Mr. Singh, I want to just come to a very basic point, which is that what is your understanding of the power demand? Because as India will grow, per capita need will increase, industrialization will happen, India is moving towards manufacturing. What is your assessment of how the future electricity demand will move, and what are the plans in place to ensure that the gap does not grow?
Yes, Nikunj. Our demand is going to double by 2030. Today, my established capacity is about 421 gigawatts, 421,000 megawatts. By 2030, our established capacity has to be 800 gigawatts. So that's the capacity addition which we have to do. Now that the bulk of that we have to get from renewables, and that's our plan. Because we are a signatory to the United Nations Framework on Climate Convention, and we've made pledges. Now, so we have set targets for ourselves for capacity addition. That's about 50 gigawatts. We'll carry out bids for about 50 gigawatts a year. That's why we have emerged as the most attractive destination for investment in renewables. We will also need storage, because without storage you don't have round-the-clock renewable energy. So we have kick-started the hydro sector. We have kick-started the pumped storage sector. So the pumped storage sector is also booming. And we came out with a PLI on battery storage. We'll come out with another PLI on battery storage, so that the battery storage and pump storage and hydro, all these will go to make round-the-clock renewable energy, along with solar and wind hybrid. Plus, I have about 50,000 megawatts under construction of thermal. So that will also come. I think that this mix should be able to do it. I may have to start, and if I tell the world that, look, if I have to add thermal, I will add thermal. I mean, don't be any doubts about it, because for my priority is to make sure that we have enough power to power our growth. We are growing, so we'll have enough power to power our growth. There's going to be no compromise in that. Of course, we are one of the lowest emitters in the world. We'll continue to be that. And we are also the country which is one of the fastest transitioning countries. So by and large, we are taking care of the climate. But if I need to add more thermal, I will do so.
Mr. Singh, as member of press, we're always critical in nature and we like to find the fault lines. But all I can say is that last 2 decades of tracking the power sector, this is a sector which indeed has seen maximum changes. You made the impossible look easy because of government policy and future planning, and the entrepreneur now is ready to invest, and the consumer is happy because prices have not gone higher. So really appreciate your time, and thank you so very much for gracing the channel with your time and your presence.
Thank you, Nikunj.